Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Want to watch a show about a preamp? I'm glad to hear that. Let's get into it. This pushes the boundaries on entry level. As you know, this channel is an entry-level channel, and a $250 preamp isn't the most affordable preamp out there, I can tell you right now. However, sometimes we venture up into the mid-range just to see how the other half lives, and also to see where targeted investments can really pay off in terms of sound quality. So this is the latest, I believe this is the Gen 3 Zen Phono preamp from iFi. We've reviewed multiple other products of theirs, and they make good stuff. They have really, really good stuff. The only issue that I've really had in terms of using iFi preamps in the past is it does take a second for it to sort of boot up. And that's an excruciating few seconds to wait when you just want the song to start. And I inevitably forget that this is one of those preamps you have to power on. Some, you know, are just passive or whatnot, but this one is not. So that being said, it's not a fault of the product at all. It's just my impatience. So some features on here I wanted to point out. So we do have 72 decibels of gain, from 36 to 72 decibels of gain with either a moving magnet or moving coil cartridge. And the noise floor is negative 151 decibels. So that's a super silent noise floor, and that should be a good thing. I'm not going to read off all of the specifications, but they are on this box. And it is a beautiful box too. Packaging is definitely on point, which I appreciate. So let's go ahead and see what is in the box. So we've got some paperwork here, setup stuff. Here's a quick guide, like an easy guide. I like that. And then we've got the device. We'll set that aside. A silica packet, and I like this little thank you sticker down there. And this carton. I'm sure there's a power supply in this box. So let's go ahead and verify that. Can I open it up? Let's see what we got here. Oh, some nice RCA cables. Look at those. Some gold-tipped, well-insulated RCA cables. Love it. Power supply. The barrel connector. Okay, a couple of things I do want to point out on this guide here is the gain settings. For one, we have multiple positions you can choose depending on what type of cartridge you have. So a moving magnet cartridge versus different moving coil cartridge values. Pretty much moving magnet is one setting, and then there's 3 variables for moving coil. We've talked about it before, but a moving coil cartridge outputs an even quieter signal, a lower voltage than a moving magnet. So the preamp needs to, basically give it more juice in order to function and output that line level. Also, there is a load adjustment. So again, if you are running a moving magnet, as we will be, the 200 setting is going to be just fine. The Subsonic Filter basically filters out unwanted low frequencies like rumble, specifically platter rumble, and even inaudible rumble and low frequencies can cause stress on your speakers. So it cleans up the audio from the specifically inaudible and some audible unwanted low frequency noise, thus providing a cleaner, more enjoyable signal to your speakers. Okay, so here is the front of the unit. We've got a little protective film. That's slick. I definitely like the 2-tone, actually 3-tone look to it. The overall cabinet dimensions are the same as before. They make an entry-level one as well that's the same dimensions but plastic. This is their, premium line, so it is cool to see that. We got rubberized feet on the bottom. These stack very well, so if you have like the headphone amplifier like I do, you can stack them and they look good stacked like that. So we got a power switch, we've got an LED display indicator, the load switch, and the Subsonic Filter. Going around back, we've got a balanced input as well as unbalanced RCA inputs. They even put these little rubber caps on, which I think is a nice touch. And it looks like those are gold jacks there, gold plated jacks. We've got a grounding post for turntables that require it. and obviously the input. Now here's the gain switch. Depending on which cartridge you're using, we're going with setting number 1 because again we are using a moving magnet cartridge, and the 5-volt receptacle for the power. That is it. So now we need a turntable. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and use this LP60 here. This will be with the Audio-Technica 3600 moving magnetic cartridge. I forgot what I was saying there. And this will be a good baseline for us. Now, this unit does have a built-in preamp, so we're going to use that to our advantage because we're going to use it to test, sort of a before and after. So we're going to put a record on here. I'll let you guess which one it will be. And we will play that record or part of it with the built-in preamp and compare it back and forth with the new iFi Zen 3 Phono preamp and hear what we can hear. Now, this is an analog product in an analog world, and you are watching this video in the digital realm. So everything's going to be converted digitally, obviously, and it will be compressed on top of that. That being said, you can hear subtle nuances even through compressed audio. It won't be as dramatic, perhaps, as what I will experience in the room, but it should be noticeable. If you're familiar with this turntable, and there's a built-in preamp switch, so we've got it set to line to begin with. There's no RCA output. This only has a TRS, so it's an 1/8 inch output. So that means I'm not going to be able to use these beautiful built-in cables that this preamp came with. I'm going to have to use something like this, where it's RCA on one end and with an 1/8 inch stereo on the other. In fact, when I'm doing the line output, I'm just going to use an aux cord with this on both sides because my input on my digital recorder is going to take that. So don't worry about that cabling stuff. That's boring. We want to give this a listen. Okay, so we've got a familiar record. This is Enoch Light and the Light Brigade Future Sound Shock. This will be Perdido. Just to make it simple, we use one song there. I wanted to go ahead and dust the record with the carbon fiber brush. I do this before every play, and also I use a brush on the stylus. And if you do these two things, it will minimize the crackle, assuming the record's deep cleaned. This is just a light cleaning. We'll go ahead and put that over the top there. Now, initially, what we're going to do is connect this line output because a preamp, built-in preamp is on. So we are going to connect this directly to my digital audio recorder. Then we're going to switch off the built-in preamp and use the external iFi preamp and then put the output of that into the digital recorder, and we'll go back and forth so you'll be able to sort of hear the difference. I do want to kind of show you what this looks like turning it on and whatnot. I've got it powered up, or I've got it plugged in right now. So if I press the power button, a little white LED lights up there, and you'll see it blinking there, moving magnet. I like the white LEDs. I think that's cool. But see how it's blinking and it's not solid yet? This is the boot up process. So this is what drives me nuts about these, is the time it... Okay, now, so it took that long to power on. Now, maybe I'm being ridiculous, but to me, it's just... I'd rather it just turns on. So pressing the load switch, it defaults to the moving magnet setting, and then we will turn on the subsonic filter as well. That's really all there is to it. That looks slick. I do like the look of it. I wish it started up, sooner than that, but it is what it is. Okay, so this is your warning to put on your headphones if you want to do so to get the best listening experience. The next thing you will see is the cutting back and forth between the two built-in preamp versus the iFi, and you can decide for yourself, and I will decide as well, giving it a listen, if the iFi preamp justifies $250 on top of the price of your turntable, because these come with the built-in. Now, if you have a vintage turntable, those don't have a built-in preamp, and you need one anyway. So this would be probably a very good one for that. But what does the sound quality look like from one of the cheaper built-in preamps to one of the more expensive ones? Okay, so you may be saying, what the heck is this? I had to add, I was really trying not to have to do this, but I had to add a headphone amplifier. So I used the iFi headphone amplifier I was talking about earlier. And the reason why, and I've explained this before, so if you've heard this a million times, I apologize, but my digital recorder has a line input that's really a mic level input. So if you're doing a recording from a device with a line output, oftentimes that audio peaks. It's too hot going in there. So what I do is I put a headphone amplifier in the loop, which allows me to sort of quiet the audio down to a mic level. And usually doesn't make any difference whatsoever. The sound quality would be the same. In this case, I wanted to mention it because it may make it sound better, more so than even the iFi preamp is doing on its own, because the iFi headphone amplifier has an X bass and 3D effect filter on it. And so, you know, if you're saying, wow, that iFi did sound a lot better, I wanted as a disclaimer to say, well, part of it may be the headphone preamplifier. In the future, I would love to get a digital recorder with a true line input. That would be good. I do have some, but none that will record the full resolution this one will. So I do prefer to use the Zoom microphone for that. That being said, I still think you could hear an A to B comparison. Another thing that it kind of brings up is you'll notice when I was doing the built-in preamp, I didn't need an external headphone amplifier to quiet it down. That means that the output of this guy is noticeably stronger than the built-in preamp. And that's an interesting thing. We often talk about line level outputs and line outputs of either turntables and line outputs of preamps as being sort of a unified level. But in actuality, there is a variance. There is a variance. You know, a line level signal from one device may not be quite what the other one is. Higher end preamps have a tendency to be louder output, stronger output voltage than cheaper ones, such as a built-in one. All right, my friends, and that's going to do it. Link down below if you are interested. Also, don't forget our custom adapters, our merch, all that cool stuff. Plus our giveaways, live shows, all kinds of fun stuff coming your way. Got a lot of turntables to review coming up. I cannot wait to share with you. My friends, that's going to do it for today. So happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.